You're listening to She's the Business podcast.
Now, if you've ever heard somebody else's story about what they've done in their business or in their life and felt like it had a huge impact on you, then chances are you're going to gain so much from today's episode because you're going to hear not one, but actually 4 different stories. There's so much value in the episode you're going to hear today. I cannot wait to share it with you. Stay tuned. It's coming right up.
Hi, I'm your host, Jessica Osborne, and in my 23 years of business and marketing, I've built many brands to become multi-billion-dollar companies. And just in the last 10 years, I've built 2 online businesses of my own from my dining room table with 2 little babies running around at my feet. I've made it my mission to inspire you to get out of your own way and become the successful business owner who's living the lifestyle you really desire without all the hustle. This is She's the Business podcast, made by women for women. This is your weekly dose of motivation and inspiration.
So there's a huge reason why group programs and masterminds and that sort of group environment has become so popular over the last few years. And no, it's nothing to do with, COVID or anything like that. It actually is more about the value that you gain from being in an environment with like-minded people, with your peers, with people who maybe they're doing things that you're not yet, and you're surrounded by this absolute energy. It's like the think tank situation where everybody is gaining something from what the others are bringing. So whether they're sharing a story and it's helping you get an insight on your own situation, your own business. Sometimes I've seen people have amazing breakthroughs because they've figured out what was in their blind spot simply by listening to what somebody else was talking about, what it was they were struggling with. And that clarity that you get of suddenly being able to see your own business through a different lens, right? Because you're listening to them talk about their business and that shifts. It's like you've opened up a new window into your own world and you can see your business in a different light. It is just incredibly powerful. The insights, the breakthroughs, the lessons that they have learned, how often they're so relevant and apply to you in your business as well. Now, of course, there's a lot that's common across all businesses, and the closer together or the more similar businesses can be, then I think the more powerful the insights and the lessons that you can gain by listening in. So if you are a coach, if you're an online professional, you're a consultant, you provide services, then I think you're going to find today's episode hugely beneficial. Now, it is a little bit longer than our usual episodes because it's actually a live interview with a panel of 4 business owners. And I'm bringing this to you. We kind of let the conversation go to wherever it naturally went. It was completely unscripted, completely raw interview, which I kind of love. Like, you never know what somebody's about to say or what they were going to share with us. And there were many things that came up in this interview that I didn't even know about. And these 4 ladies are members of my Business Jam program. Some of them have been with me for a few years. Others are more in their first year, but they each have been in the Business Jam program with me. I thought I knew them really well, thought I knew their businesses very, very well. And yet there were some amazing nuggets of gold in here, some big surprises, some really exciting, but also important lessons as well. What it was that they really felt made a huge difference to them in their business. Some of the stuff that they've done where they've seen a giant shift. So I thought, what better time of year to share this interview with you? It was a live panel that we did just a few months back, but we're in Christmas. It's Christmas, it's almost New Year. You're probably having a bit of a time off, a bit of a break, and we have a little bit more time to be spending on thinking about our own business and what we're doing for the coming year, all of that stuff. And so I thought this is the perfect time to share with you these stories so that you can listen in, grab these insights from these women and what they have experienced, take that forward into your 2024 and see what you can apply that could have a similar outcome for you. So without further ado, let me play this interview for you. Amazing. Okay, so hello, we are live here with my Business Jam alumni. So I've got these lovely ladies who have all volunteered to come on here live with me today and have a chat about their business and share with you a bit about what they do, about their journey, some insights, and all of that really cool stuff. So very much appreciate you being here, ladies. And I will, before we kind of kick into big questions, love to just go around the room and get you all to introduce yourself, your business, and what it is that you do, who you work with, just so that everybody can get a great understanding of who you are. So who would like to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Awesome.
Hi, everyone. My name's Kerrie, and I'm an image and style coach, and I help passionate online service professionals to go from feeling like a bit of a hot mess and a bit of a disconnect with their visual presence to showing up feeling completely aligned and confident with their brand image. And that's so they can attract their ideal clients and just become magnetic in the industry.
Amazing. Thanks, Kerrie. Who's next?
Sure, I'll go.
Oh.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right. My name's Miranda, and I'm a business and mindset coach. I was a copywriter when I did Business Jam, and I still have my copywriting business, but now my focus is my coaching business. And I help creative business mums to just have more fun and adventure while building an irresistible business that is sustainable and one that they love and that doesn't suck the life out of them, and support them to do that with less wine, less swearing, and less tears.
I love that, especially the less wine, right? Oh, no crutches needed. Thank you, Miranda. That's amazing. Zia, you had your hand up, didn't you?
Sure. Hi, my name is Zia Nix, and I'm a health coach, and I'm also an energy healer. So right now I'm working mostly with busy professionals and helping them to find the best foods that help them have energy and focus to get through the day, healthier ways to manage stress, also finding the balance between their careers and the rest of their lives, family, time for themselves, time for things that they enjoy. So really, it's kind of like life coaching with an emphasis on nutrition, with a little bit of like breath work and Reiki thrown in there. So my goal is just to help them get back to like that chill, happy version of themselves that kind of gets lost in the shuffle of modern life.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So much so, right? It's like, when did life get so hectic and so busy? It's like stress just becomes the norm, doesn't it? So
exactly.
Yeah. So true. That's awesome. Thank you, Zia. And Louise.
Yeah, sure. So I'm a career strategist and leadership coach, and ultimately I help advocate for and empower kind of highly successful, ambitious corporate folks, predominantly employees who are navigating everything from toxic office politics in the workplace through to career transitions and excelling within the world of corporate work. And so my background is predominantly in organizational development and psychology, and more recently on the neuroscience side of the house, specializing in folks navigating their mindsets within toxic workplaces. And so I kind of bring that to a lot of my sessions within that space.
Yeah, I can see a few of us like nodding. We can definitely relate to that so much. The toxic workplace and just all of that goes on when you are in those environments, trying to get somewhere and not getting anywhere. It's so frustrating. So thank you so much. That's awesome. So as you can see, we've got a really big range of, different people with different backgrounds and skills and specialties, all coming into Business Jam, which makes it an amazing environment because we can learn so much, I think, from each other as well. But what the interesting thing is like such different businesses, but yet when we can plug into a kind of a strategic framework, very similar style of business in the way that we want to run it. And I guess the end goals and what we're wanting out of that is a business that's simple and light and efficient, and that is, highly profitable for the time that we're putting into it. So, I guess my first question to whoever would like to answer the first question would be, what do you think has been for you the most impactful thing that you discovered? Whether that was since Business Jam or through Business Jam. I know sometimes we get the information, but it can always take a while to sink in at times. So it may be something that you've, more recently become aware of, or something that you're like, well, this was a huge, a huge thing that I kind of hadn't been aware of before, and you discovered during it. So would somebody like to go first with my big question?
Yeah, I'm really happy to. So for me, at the time while I was doing Business Jam, like the most impactful thing was how it helped me approach and shape and review my pricing. And, the ripple effects of that now into who I am and how I run my business and how I work with clients, it's had an even bigger impact than I ever kind of really, realized or expected. And so, Jess, as you know, I've reflected this back at you, many times since you helped me understand that what I was doing was crowdsourcing my pricing by asking other copywriters constantly, what they charge for services. And when you're at the very start of your profession, it kind of makes sense to do that as a freelancer because you don't know where to start. But once you've actually kind of, established an idea of, roughly kind of what pricing is, to be constantly like benchmarking your rates against other copywriters or, at other people in your profession, it doesn't really make any sense because the value you bring, the experience you give, your own experience that you bring all equates to, very different value exchange. And so, when I kind of realized that I was doing that, I stopped second guessing myself. And that stopping the second guessing was so life-changing and gave me the confidence to actually go out and chase those big projects and charge accordingly and not, undervalue myself or, undersell myself and actually charge, what for the value that I was bringing to projects. And like that's just changed so much for me. The ripple effects now mean that I can help my own clients with that in my coaching business. Because, that's something that we all really struggle with. You see it, constantly. It's part of the chatter in online business groups everywhere is people really struggle with pricing and valuing themselves.
Yeah.
And you just helped me so much with that, and I'll always be really grateful. And that was definitely the most impactful thing for me.
Yeah, that's such a good one. Like it was literally this week, I think I saw someone post in the group, what would be the standard price to charge for this? And I was like, I had to respond because I can't let a comment like that go out because all these people were like chiming in with all of their, well, how many hours are you working? And all this, and I was like, what if there is no standard? Like, what would you like to actually charge for this? Because like you discovered, Miranda, you were in this great big community of all these copywriters, all with totally different experience, totally different levels of skill and what they're bringing to their projects. And so why should there be a standardized rate that it's just like, this is just what something's worth? It's like, it's not actually, there is no such thing as standard when we're in a service-based industry. So yeah, I love that one. Like that was such a huge moment for you, right? Like,
I still love it so much that you said that to me. I really do.
I can still remember the day we were talking. I think my eyes went like, you're doing what?
Yeah.
Asking other people how much to charge. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And I think my eyes did the same thing when you said that. It was that, oh my gosh, did she just say that? But it was the best possible thing you could have said because it really sunk in. It landed where it needed to, and it changed my mindset and changed how I approached my pricing.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you. Anybody else got anything they'd like to share on that?
Yeah, I would love to piggyback on that because along with pricing, I think one of the biggest things that I got from Business Jam, and it was like one of the first things that, we're kind of introduced to, is adopting a CEO mindset. And that was like huge for me because I was coming off corporate and I really didn't have a whole lot of business experience. And so I was operating very much from an employee mindset. And so, like doing all the work myself and like, kind of spinning my wheels, and like the CEO thing really helped me like determine my pricing. It shaped how I'm delivering, how I'm packaging my services, my offerings. It helped me to sort of organize my time and just figure out where I should be spending my time and which activities I should be leveraging, which ones I should be outsourcing. And it really helped to sort of help me like informed a lot of those decisions that, are shaping my business today. So the CEO mindset was huge for me. That was like a huge, like 180, and just thinking about like investing in myself in the business, not thinking about it as an expense, but like, when you invest in yourself, like, you get immediate returns on that.
Yeah. Oh, I love that you brought that one up because I kind of forget that that's in there. It's kind of like part of the groundwork, like setting up before we really get started.
Yeah. It's like day one.
Seriously. But it's so true because it's like, who are we actually being in our business? It then impacts the decisions that we're making and what we're focusing on and how we're thinking about it. And so that's why that's in there, because there's so much out there about what you should be doing. Like everyone's like, what should I do? What should I do? What should I do? And we're taking in all this advice. And it's like, well, how about when we think about it ourselves as the leader or the CEO of our business, what are we deciding? Because you can take in all of that stuff and try to do it all. And it's actually just going to send you down that path, down the rabbit hole of, eventual burnout, really, which I'm sure that you've seen with so many of your clients and people who are kind of in that place where you're trying to do all the shoulds and not actually deciding what is the should for me. Like I'm the boss here. Like I get to decide, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was like year one in business for me. That was like, pre-Business Jam. That was me in my life.
Yeah, that's awesome. And, you're so much, I see, making those decisions with so much more confidence. And actually, that's kind of as well, Miranda, you didn't have that trust in yourself. And then you took on the trust. And it was actually like, it's probably part of that. It's very related to it, isn't it? From going from, you tell me what I should be doing or charging or whatever, to actually going, no, I'm actually making the call. I'm making the decision and doing what's right for me. And that has such a big impact across all your business. So, congrats. It's awesome. Do you guys have anything to add to that?
I'll go next.
Good one, Kerrie.
So just first from our initial 15-minute call, just to start with, when I was deciding on getting in or not, you just gave me that clarity to start with about being okay targeting one type of customer, niching down. And then when I got into Business Jam, I just dove right deep into that because there's so many things that I could do and I just wanted to help everybody. But then you just made it seem okay and reassured me that no, you're here for one particular person, but then later on you can help them with all the other things. So it really helped me just to target and know who I was speaking to right from the beginning, and that I wasn't for everyone, and that's okay. And then that just helped me with my own business, and then helping with my own clients believe that themselves, and then they don't have to change themselves in order to find their ideal clients. And just so you can, being the authentic self that you are is how you do attract your ideal clients. Just being yourself, you attract the same people that are like you with the same values, and things like that. So that just was really good. It was really clear from day dot. So thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's like it's exhausting trying to be someone for everyone. Like, because you're going, well, who do I need to be today? And what do I need to say? And like, all those people weren't like that. It's like, it just makes life so hard when you are trying to,
help everybody. And the beautiful thing is, so many of us, we're so big hearted, you want to help everybody. You really want to. You see so many people who could use your help. And it's like, I think that's one of the hardest things, is actually going, well, but it's not helping anyone if I'm trying to help everybody, because then I'm finding it really hard to actually reach anybody at all. So the best way to help lots of people is to be specific. Strangely, it's like, it doesn't seem to make logical sense at first, but when then you're doing it, it does make sense, right?
Totally.
It does. Yeah. And I think we can all relate to that as consumers as well. Like, the brands, the services, the professionals, the businesses that we're attracted to are the ones that speak directly to us, where we feel like, oh my gosh, they're talking directly to me. They've got a camera in my house. They're inside my head. We know that when businesses speak to us really specifically and directly, we resonate with it. So it makes sense that we should do that ourselves and speak directly and specifically to that exact ideal client that we want to work with.
Yeah, exactly. I think we take on so much of that consumerism thinking in our heads, because it's like mass market, mass products, but even with a product that could be for millions and millions of people, they still get really targeted and get inside people's heads. And the ones that do well do that. And it's like, then you have to reflect, well, our businesses are service-based businesses. We do not need millions of customers. Like, we literally only need a much smaller amount. So just think how much more specific we can even get than that, because it's so much easier for us. Like, we actually don't need the millions, which is a beautiful thing.
It definitely makes it easy. Sorry. It definitely makes it easier when you're doing your marketing and your messaging online. You know who you're talking to, and it's just really, really clear.
Yeah.
I was thinking, as a follow-on from the comments Miranda and Zia you make with regards to consideration around pricing. And for me, a significant portion of that was awareness around the societal expectations and patterns of money mindset that we have. So I find that maybe in hearing both of you speak, I could reflect upon those moments where I was like, wow, pricing is really indicated by me and my sense of worth, and I'll attract clients accordingly. I think a big aha moment for me came in when I realized that when I increased my investment kind of fee rates, I found that it attracted a different type of client. And it was more of a committed, invested client. And there was a huge game change when they'd come to the table, having executed on some of the pieces we played out, having done kind of homework. And it just ultimately meant that they ended up having better outcomes, having greater wins for their teams and their teams of teams. And I hadn't initially seen it through that lens. So I had kind of identified price as more of an affordability piece. So some people have the ability to pay this in terms of financial capability, and other people don't. I hadn't seen it as a value piece, that we each, knowingly or not, assign certain amounts to different things and then put emotional weight in line with that. And I realized that in increasing my prices, I attracted a different type of client that just frankly came to my calls more invested. They'd done their homework because they were like, okay, this is for realsies. We're doing this. So I think that was a huge aha moment for me. So I could definitely resonate with those pieces around pricing.
So true. It's like you're not dabbling anymore. It's like someone's actually gone, no, I'm making this conscious decision. I'm investing in this. I'm going all in. And like, what a difference that is, right? In terms of when you're working with them, what they're able to achieve, because they've decided to be in this totally. Like, they're not just kind of at the dabbling level. Like, can someone else help me and do it all for me? Whereas they're like, right, I'm doing this, I'm in, and let's get there. That's so awesome. Love that. Love all of those insights. So my next question is, how do you see your business now versus before? I think we've probably covered a little bit of this. Some of you have mentioned that already, but what do you think is the real shift that you've experienced? If you were comparing old to new, do you have a word or a thought that pops into mind when you're comparing that?
Okay.
I think
Your awkward silence. Maybe I'll have to start picking up.
Yeah, so I pivoted from brick and mortar to online. So it was a whole new world to me, not knowing where to start. And I was like, I can't waste any time. I need to be really clear on what I should be focusing on. And yeah, it just helped me focus on the marketing side and starting to just get out there and speak to them. I had my messaging clear, so I knew what I was going to say. And then a course that I'd created, and I'd sat on it for 2 years. I hadn't even put it out there. It was just an amazing course that no one knew about. And yeah, I just learned how to get it out there, and the right messaging to use, and launching and all of that. So yeah, that was a highlight.
Oh yeah, that has been a big shift, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Just to hear you talk about that, like bricks and mortar to a whole different online world. That is a huge, huge change. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kerrie.
I think for me, it's the strategic piece. You said, if you were to think of one word, I think strategy is a large part of it. I changed the way in which I looked at things. So when I first started in the business, I was not far off employed for the purposes of fighting fires effectively. And I got a name in the market for fighting said fires. And I kind of transitioned through to, what am I ultimately hoping to achieve? What do I want the world of work to look like for people? My clients are predominantly leaders, and so they have a lot of impact. And in looking at them through the lens of what am I hoping for them to achieve for others, then I could more strategically align my services accordingly, versus this, we'll do a 1 hour, face-to-face, we'll fight this fire piece, and then they'd call me up again for another session. It was a completely different mindset. And I notice now, putting them through both programs and also kind of half full day sessions, we're able to achieve more, but ultimately that rolls up to them being more, them being better versions of themselves in the workplace for other people as well. So I think strategic capability was a really big game changer for me.
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it? Like some little shifts. Well, actually, they're fairly significant shifts in just the way that you're offering your services, like going from like those sessions, which are, like you say, you're fighting a fire, and then there's another one, to being like more of a strategic even offering in the first place, means that you're having that bigger impact, because we're not up here on that surface level fighting the fires, but really diving in to change what they want to, what they want to be doing, and change their life and their career. So awesome. Thank you. Anybody else want to go? Or I'll move on. It's all good. I guess another question that I had was, what surprised you the most? Was there something that you surprised yourself, or you were surprised by because it was something that you weren't expecting? I like to throw a question in. It's a bit random like that, so I'll let you have a think about it for a minute. But what surprised you the most?
I think for me it was...
Your turn.
Yeah, I think it was just discovering how capable I was. So, I was surprised that I was perhaps, not so surprised by everything that I was learning in the program. I think, I sort of alluded to, I said this before about, how you supported me to just stop second guessing myself. It helped me realize just, how much I already had within me. And, even around some of the marketing stuff, because, copywriting is a marketing discipline, and I didn't have a traditional kind of career path into copywriting. Like, I didn't work, for a brand. I didn't work in marketing. I didn't have a marketing degree. And I'd always really kind of just doubted myself, because I'd learned everything on the job. I learned event marketing, I learned corporate communications, I learned copywriting all on the job. And so I just kind of doubted myself as a marketer. And so just learn, through everything that we learned in your program, it helped me realize kind of how much I already knew and how much I was actually bringing to my clients as a copywriter. And, all of that was a big part of the shift in how I approached my pricing, because what I actually brought to my clients was different to what, other copywriters bring, because we are all so very different. And I'd always invested so much in myself in terms of education. Like I've just kind of always done that. And I hadn't really placed enough value on what that meant for my clients either. So kind of just piecing all of that together and realizing, wow, I actually am really capable and I really do bring a lot to my clients, and I need to start valuing that more. So, that awareness was not there before doing the program, and doing the program very much brought that to the surface for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, Miranda. Kerrie, you were going.
I can go now. I was just blown away by everything that's provided in Business Jam. Like I was blown away that absolutely everything is covered from start to finish, and how you can just go back and, if you've got a launch coming up, you can just start with that process, and we've got the group support cheering you along. So I really just was blown away by how much was included in Business Jam, and you don't have to go anywhere else. Everything's just all there in the one place, and you're surrounded by people on the same journey. That was just priceless.
That's awesome. Thank you. So nice to hear, because it's like sometimes you always doubt your own stuff, don't you? I still think, I should be adding more of this and that. And we could keep on adding probably forever, couldn't we? But that's amazing to hear. Thank you, Kerrie.
I think for me, it was a compounding effect of sorts, which is to say that, and this speaks more to your style, Jess, than anything else. Yeah. So often in our sessions, you would say something to the effect of, what if you did do that though? Just kind of putting it out there. What would that feel like? What if you did do that? And it's priceless. I am speaking to the screen right now, and I'm looking at, this is like a flat screen mesh. And I freaking overthought getting tradespeople in for so long around getting fly screens fitted, rather than just do something which I'm not completely happy with, but just freaking gets the thing done. And so often I think about this fly screen and I think about my business. I was far too binary on things. So it's like, okay, I need to niche down, end of story. I need to have a good online media presence, end of story. And so I hadn't been moving forward. And in you constantly coaching me, Jess, on this whole, what about if you did just do blah, kind of like just throw it out there, it incentivized a change in my behavior to kind of go, you know what? Okay, so maybe I'll niche down. And once I niche down, then maybe I can expand out. But if I operate in this world of just expansions, trying to be everything to everyone in the world of career and work, I'm not moving forward. So for me, a big win was changing the way in which I looked at things through such a binary lens. Old me, without you, Jess, would not have put this freaking flat screen up, as ugly as it is, because it would have just been like, no, I want to change it, and I want timber framing, and then I want a fly screen to match. And it's the same with getting my website up and running, and it's the same with even pricing and having VIP days. It would have been like, I'm not quite happy with them. And I was so binary. I was like, I just have to get it right. And it was more so, you know what, I'll just kind of throw it out there. I'll think about it. So it's not quite throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks, but rather more so I'll put something out there with a fair bit of considered thought. And then once it kind of settles and I get feedback and I tweak accordingly, I can expand, I can tweak. So thank you. You definitely provided that to me.
I love that. It's funny. That is such a hangover from, I was just thinking like, coming out of corporate, things have to be done, and it's like signed off by 1 million people. You've got to have so much permission, right, in order to do something. And then often we're in our own business and we're kind of still seeking that, like, well, it hasn't really been signed off yet, but it's ourselves who's signing it off. And what level are we holding ourselves to? And how do you even know if it's right or not? Like, what is such a thing as right? So sometimes it is just that, like you said, let's just see, like, what if it doesn't work, or what if it does? We don't know until we do it. So I love that. Thank you for sharing, and I'm glad that you have some fly screen, because that is really that is a really important thing to have coming into summer. That's awesome. Did you have anything that was surprising, Zia, that you wanted to add?
Yeah. So one thing that really surprised me was how much fun I could have with my marketing. because I kind of came into it and was like anti-marketing, like, was very hesitant, very resistant. Yeah, exactly. Like selling myself and like, having it feel like salesy and cheap and all of that. So I had a lot of hangups that I feel like a lot of people do around marketing, and, being a part of this program and working with you, and it just completely helped to like flip that mindset around. And now, I see it as something that I can have fun with. And now it's a vehicle for my voice and my ideas and to help like connect with like-minded people. And so that was a really surprising thing, because I did not ever think that I would ever come to love marketing or enjoy it in any bit. And I do. And because it's so like crucial, like to the business. And so it's great that that's something that I can actually enjoy.
Yeah. That is awesome. And like, that's the thing. I love to break down these barriers, because it is like, it's just so, doesn't have to be like all the way. There's all this stuff online. Go onto any feed and they're going like, don't do this, don't do that. Here are all the mistakes. And like, you're like, oh my God, there's a million things. And how do I do it right? And it's so stressful, right? But then you're in your head about it. And I think I love that day, Zia, where I saw you. You were like, I can just say what I want in my own words and talk to these people. This is amazing. Like, let's just do it, because why does it have to be so difficult? Like it actually, it doesn't. It's just getting clear, doesn't it? So that's awesome. Well, we've got a few minutes left. I know Miranda's got to dive off because she has another appointment, and Kerrie does as well. But I just had one last quick question, would be, if you went back to an earlier version of yourself, what would you advise yourself to do if you could, you're like, wish I could just go back in time. Do you have one that springs to mind?
I can answer this straight away because I think about it all the time, and the evidence is there. It's just to back myself. I look back at a business idea that I had back in 2015, and it wasn't just an idea. Like I sat down and I did a budget and a plan, and I started doing an operations manual, and I engaged a friend who had a marketing agency to give me some feedback on it. But I still just had so much doubt, and I was absolutely terrified of starting something that would either, I don't know whether I was scared of failure, scared of burning out, bit of both, but just thought, who are you to start a business, and what do you actually know about marketing and running an online business? And I look back now at the work that I was doing back then, and my gosh, like I knew so much more than I gave myself credit for. And if I had actually started that back then, it would be an absolute powerhouse now, because I would have learned so much over 8 years as well. And so I really wish I could just go back and have the conversation to say, it's going to be okay. You've got this. You're so much more capable than what you know, and just do it. Embrace the uncertainty and, leap off and have some fun. You'll do well.
Yeah. Such a good one. I think that's something everybody should definitely take away. Trusting yourself is massive. Where are you not trusting yourself right now in your business? Like, ask that question and really see what it is that you're holding back from, that maybe you could be trusting yourself more with. Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Who would like to?
Yeah, I would say invest in yourself. I wish, like, I spent 8 months, almost a year, just kind of spiraling and, not having direction. And I wish that I had gotten support sooner. I was like something that I second guessed and questioned myself on, but it was like literally the best decision that I made.
That's awesome. Yeah, totally agree. It's funny, isn't it? Like we all think, I'm so capable. I'm like that person too. I grew up being like, I can solve all the problems and I'm so capable. I can do it myself. And you just don't realize when you are literally running your own business, having support and having, the other voices, not just the ones in your head, is really useful because it can help stop them going round in circles. Exactly. I 100% feel you on that. That's awesome.
And even not just support, but even just like investing in good headshots. It's like, instead of like, trying to take some photos on my phone or have my boyfriend take photos, like invest in the headshots, invest in the website, invest in like whatever it is you need. Because, like we were talking earlier, it's not an expense, it is an investment, and it will pay back in dividends over time.
Mm. Yeah, those things give you like so much confidence as well, because then when you're out there, you're not feeling like, oh, here I am with just my photo that I've taken myself. You kind of
100%.
got that confidence, which I know, Kerrie, is something that you talk about so much, isn't it? It's like giving yourself that confidence so that you can actually shine out.
Yeah, and just being proud of yourself. So I would tell myself to not change for anyone. I just remind myself that you're beautiful just as you are, and nothing about you needs to change. Just put yourself out there. Speak your passions. If you want to change people's lives, you're not going to do it sitting back, hiding behind your content, hiding behind your words, stock photos and all of that. No, you just put yourself out there and invest in yourself. Like, go and get those professional photos done, because you'll want to share them out like lollies. It'll just be like, oh my God, I look so good. And you'll be so proud of yourself, and it gives you that confidence to share those photos. And if you need to do a quick marketing post, you've got a photo right there ready. So yeah, invest in yourself and believe in yourself, and don't change yourself.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. So good. It's brilliant. What about you, Louise? What would you tell you?
Yeah, that definitely. The words that come to mind is someone screaming at the top, like, of their lungs and the rooftops, like, spend your money. Ultimately, I think investment as well. When I first started out, I basically, so many of the decisions that I made in my business, and this is kind of in real time, this is so transparent, I made on the basis of cost. I was like, okay, so I can pay for a website, or I can just learn to code myself and create one. Well, I'll do that. Okay, I can pay a photographer, or I can just kind of go on YouTube, teach myself some things and do some photos. And this just went rinse and repeat through every aspect of my business. I was like, I'll just do it myself. I'll just learn whatever it takes and do it. And it's not about that, right? Jess, you were a huge advocate for this, and certainly a good reminder for me constantly. It's not just about the money, it's about what you lose, right? So it's not even just an hour spent taking poor photos, for instance, is an hour that I could have invested and got returns on, but it's also the additional, it's rarely ever an hour, right? Because it's also energy. Like, I don't really like taking lots of photos. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so not that good at this. And I get home and I'm drained. So I'm like, it's probably a 3-hour game, right? And I realized over time that I had not been investing. And I think categorically, the best move I made in the business financially was signing up for this Business Jam course. Because I was like, I don't know, I'm not quite sure. And it was like, I gelled with you on the call, but does that mean it's going to be good? I did loads of research, and just the process of kind of like hitting submit and booking the first call was like a change for me to be like, you know what, I won't know unless I try, unless I put my foot in. And so maybe it's going to be great, maybe it's not, but something's got to move forward. And so for me, a huge piece was investing and not being afraid to invest, especially for me personally, financially, so in a way that enables me to take real-time feedback and change in the future. My fly screen's still okay. It's been there forever. And so I'm kind of like, I went into this Business Jam and I was like, oh, I'm not quite sure. And I'm like, right, I'm just all in, and I'll learn some things. I might not learn some things. I'm not sure, but I don't know if I'm not doing. And there was so much not doing because I was overthinking things, and I was quite literally doing most of the stuff myself. So for me, absolutely investing, spending the money, like on so many things. If I had my time again, I think I'd just be like, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. I have changed so much.
That's amazing, because it's like, what is your time worth, right? You can learn how to code and build your own website, but should you? Is that really the best use of your time? Because you might think, oh, I can whack it up in a day, and then like a day turns into a month, and then it turns into however long, and you might not be happy with the results still, right? Because it is harder than what they say it is. I didn't
even realize for some of them, someone has asked, 2 people over the time in me having my business have asked me, one, to create their website and code it all, and the other asked me to do photos. And I was like, oh no. And it was weird that my answer was no so immediately. I knew that because I'm like, I don't freaking really love that stuff. Like, it was fun, but I don't want to do it as a job full time. And it was interesting that subconsciously, I knew that with such immediacy, and yet in the real world, I hadn't quite played that out consciously. I was still doing that stuff, and it was not bringing me joy. So yes.
Absolutely. And that's another CEO move, like actually just going, I could do all this stuff, but should I? Or actually, do I need to, really take charge and think about this more strategically? Our time is the only thing you don't get back. That's the thing. It's like, you can go on Google or YouTube and do all the how-tos, and like, how much time do you really want to spend doing that versus, shortcutting that whole process? I agree so much. It's amazing. Well, I know that a couple of you have to go, and I really appreciate you so much for being here. So thank you very much, ladies. Thank you for joining us today. This is a lovely Business Jam alumni. There are so many more just like these ladies as well. Here's just a little snapshot of the beautiful people who we have inside Business Jam. And thank you. Thanks for coming and sharing. I appreciate you.
Thanks for having us and for the opportunity to share how amazing the program is.
Thank you.
Yes, I've got to run. Bye.
Thanks, Miranda.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, Jazz.
Thank you. If you're a coach, a consultant, or an online service provider, and you're sick of relying on referrals or feeling really overworked and underpaid for the time that you're putting into your business, and really just want to feel like you're on the path to having a fulfilling high-income business that allows you to work part-time hours so you can spend more time with your family, for yourself, and actually enjoy your life, then I have the solution for you. My program, Business Jam, contains my proven strategy for attracting high-quality clients to really profitable and saleable services that also fit your lifestyle needs, so that you've created a game that you can win in your business, and it actually gets you to the outcome that you set out to create when you first started. Now, this is for you, whether you've been in business for 10 years, 20 years, or even if it's year one, then this is your core marketing strategy foundation that helps you to focus on the right things, stop focusing on all of the wrong things and wasting all of your time with activities that you don't need to be doing. So we get you streamlined and attracting in exactly what you need to have the business outcome that you desire. Business Jam is not open right now, but the waitlist is open. So head to jessicaosborne.com/waitlist and put your name down to get on my priority waitlist for Business Jam. So you're first to hear about it when we're opening doors next. And I always save a few extra special things just for the people who are on my waitlist. So that could be you. So head over to jessicaosborne.com/waitlist to get your name on the priority waitlist for Business Jam. And you'll be first to hear all about it when we're opening up next.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of She's the Business podcast. I hope that you've been enjoying it as much as I have in creating the content to bring to you. So I really appreciate you being here. I appreciate your presence and your attention. Now, if you love the podcast, or maybe you just loved today's episode, then I would absolutely appreciate it if you would go to Apple Podcasts, scroll down, hit the 5 stars, and then leave me a short review about what it was that you really enjoyed in this episode, or maybe in the podcast overall. And when I receive those reviews, then I love to give those reviewers a shout out on my future podcast episodes. So you never know, you may hear your name getting a shout out in a future episode if you do that. So thank you once again for your time, and I'll see you next time on She's the Business.